Okay, as a lot of you guys may know, I'm full of energy. But what you may not have noticed is that I have a few little twitches, a few extra body movements disguised into my body language. A lot of the times, I have no idea I'm even doing them. That's because I have a mild case of Tourette Syndrome. People with this condition have uncontrollable muscle twitches, or tics. They can be quite small or really obvious. So, has this syndrome stopped me from doing what I love? Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. Now, a lot of you may have heard of Tourette Syndrome and even know about the twitches and tics. However, what I want to know is what exactly is it in my body that causes these tics? Actually, I've got an appointment right now. So, I'm at Neurosciences Queensland to meet up with Professor Peter Silburn, who is one of Australia's leading medical experts when it comes to Tourette Syndrome. Tics come through the brain, right? But my brain knows not a lot about the actual brain itself. Now, what's happening with the brain? What happens with Tourette's?
Sure. This is our brain, and your brain's no different to many other people's, all right? What happens in Tourette's is this part of the brain fires off, like things happen in there, and it sends messages down here that aren't inhibited. So you might get an urge to do something, and you think, here it comes here, and it gets fired off and boom, down through the middle part, down the spinal cord, from the spinal cord to nerves, and nerves attached to muscles, and the muscle fires off. It's not being inhibited in these regions, and that's the problem with Tourette's, that come through at inappropriate times. They're kind of normal movements. Everyone sniffs every now and then and coughs. That's usual. In fact, that's very important to do that for some things. But in Tourette's, it just comes through. You can't pull it down.
Sometimes I can have tics that will have like a 6-month gap. So I can do one 6 months ago and then all of a sudden I get the urge to do it again. Is this quite common? Can you just have like a cycle of different tics?
Absolutely. That's in fact what happens. You can have a flurry in one part of the body and then it'll ease off and might even go away for years and then it'll come back. And so we're still trying to work out why that is. Why does the brain do that? You have a bit of activity and it settles down. And it's fascinating. We think it's how the brain's connected from one part to the other.
My case of Tourette's is quite mild. However, some people have quite a full-on case of Tourette's. Are there any kind of treatment that you do for Tourette syndrome?
Oh, Seamus, like most people with Tourette's, you're just like most people. You don't really need any treatment because it just wears off, if you like. It hangs around, but it doesn't become a problem as you get older. If you do, there are medications. Very rarely, some people at the really tough end of the spectrum need surgery. And what we do is we put electrodes in the brain, in the deep brain, and it's called deep brain stimulation. And these tiny little electrodes are about 1 millimetre, say, and we find the area in the brain that acts like the gate where it comes down through the middle, and we kind of suppress it and we stimulate other areas. So you can start to inhibit it and not even know you're inhibiting it. So you're restoring function in the brain. Because in Tourette's, the structures aren't broken. It's just you're modulating differently.
Well, it's great to know that there are people like Professor Peter doing such amazing work for people with severe Tourette's. But he assured me there is still so much more to learn about the human brain.
There's 100 billion neurons and 10 times them supporting them. The numbers are enormous. There's only 7 billion of us on the planet. So working out how all these guys work in a coordinated fashion is why we need people doing good, hardcore scientific research across multiple levels. That's how we learn about it, and that's the most important organ for humans.